So when it's time to do lettering, what we need to do is we need to think about the shapes. We need to think about our goal, which is to print clearly. Well, we also are trying to draw the letters at the correct height. So on our little practice sheet here for drawing number 1.3, this is the tallest text you'd probably see on a drawing. It's a 1/4 inch tall. Our goal is to be able to print at that height, at 1/8 of an inch tall. And we start off with some simple shapes that are horizontal and vertical strokes only, and then we have diagonal strokes. When we get down to the numbers, a lot of them have oval elements and some of the letters have round elements. But the idea is, let's start at the top and then nice and dark, pressing down nice and hard. We are working at printing with the goal of being able to print clearly in between our guidelines, so everything is the right height, down to 1/8 of an inch tall. Okay. And then for the letter T, and again, you don't have to tape this thing down. You can hold the paper however you want in order to keep it comfortable. We're trying to create the T at 1/4 inch, at 3/16 inch, and then at 1/8 of an inch. Right, and we're using the two lines that are there as our guide, the guidelines, so that all of our printing is regular and uniform. Now, a lot of the letters, I think when you look at them, they look a lot wider than how we normally write. I think when we write, we kind of get used to writing and trying to condense everything together, so our letters tend to be skinny. The correct forms for the letters in lettering are almost square. Some of them are wider, the Q, the M, the W especially, but for the most part they are square. So that's probably not what we normally do when we print, right? So we're making our letters one stroke at a time. The diagonals are one stroke and one stroke, one stroke and one stroke, and more or less square in shape, unless it's one of those special letters that we talked about. Right, so what we want to do is we want to work our way through here, and we want to create lettering that is clear and precise, and we're just trying to get smaller and smaller so that we can eventually print at 1/8 of an inch tall, nice and clear. And then down the bottom, drawn by, well, this is going to be you, right? So we're not endorsing a check here. You should have lots of practice by the time you get to the bottom of the page. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be lettering your name in between those two guidelines. All right, so it is also 1/8 of an inch tall, perfectly even on the top and on the bottom. There's a blank space here. We're going to leave that space blank. Normally that's where we have our checker, check our work. We'll go through the top section here, get all the letters and numbers. There's even an ampersand there, which is a lot of fun. For the fractions and whole numbers here, you'll have the number on one side, we'll have the fraction above for the numerator, and then the denominator below, and the bar in between, right? 1/4 inch tall, 1/8 tall. Over here, radius 7.625. Well, leave a full space underneath there. Radius 7.625. The whole point of lettering is to have letters that are clear and easy to read. If you wrote your letters right in here in that space, how could we read them, right? Things would be on top of each other. Do you notice how I've left a space in between each of these? If we have lines of lettering, we'd leave a full space in between each line. So here's a full space between this line and this line. There's our space. Down here, the same thing. We're going to leave a full space before we practice our lettering at 1/8 tall. Our 7.625 6, 2, 5. Diameter 0.938. Typical T Y B. Okay, so make sure you're leaving a gap between lines of lettering. And that'll take care of drawing 3.1. On drawing 1.4, here's what we're going to be working with. This is some more lettering, right? So again, dark letters. If you're using a mechanical pencil, you can use the heavier 0.7mm mechanical pencil to do your lettering. The word gas engine principles, well, leave a full space, and then in the next space, use the guidelines that are there. To carefully print the words above. On the next line, working temperature keyway, we'll leave a full space, and on the next space, carefully print out the lettering for those words. Okay. Now, down the bottom here, I've got a big blob of text. So what we want to do is we want to take the big blob, and we're going to start on the first line here, and we're going to reproduce what we see above. So, anyone can learn to letter well. All right, and we're just taking our time. We're leaving a full space in between each line of text, just like here, so that the letters are not sitting on top of each other. Follow the guidelines, try to make your letters as carefully as possible, and you'll do great.